The 1968 Summer Olympics, officially known as the Games of the XIX Olympiad, were an international multi-sport event held in Mexico City, Mexico, in October 1968. These were the first Olympic Games to be staged in Latin America and the first to be staged in a Spanish-speaking country. They were also the third Games to be held in autumn, after the 1956 Games in Melbourne and the 1964 Games in Tokyo. The Mexican student movement of 1968 happened concurrently and the Olympic Games were correlated to the government's repression. Host city selection. On October 18, 1963, at the 60th IOC session in Baden-Baden, West Germany, Mexico City finished ahead of bids from Detroit, Buenos Aires and Lyon to host the Games. Olympic torch relay. The 1968 torch relay recreated the route taken by Christopher Columbus to the New World, journeying from Greece through Italy and Spain to San Salvador Island, Bahamas and then on to Mexico. American sculptor James Metcalf, an expatriate in Mexico, won the commission to forge the Olympic torch for the 1968 Summer Games. Highlights. In the medal award ceremony for the men's 200-meter race, Black American athletes Tommy Smith and John Carlos took a stand for civil rights by raising their black gloved fists and wearing black socks in lieu of shoes. The Australian Peter Norman, who had run second, wore an American civil rights badge as support to them on the podium. As punishment, the IOC banned Smith and Carlos from the Olympic Games for life, and Norman was left off Australia's Olympic team in 1972. American George Foreman won the gold medal for boxing by defeating Soviet Ioannis Shapoulis via a second-round TKO. After the victory, Foreman waved a small American flag as he bowed to the crowd. The high elevation of Mexico City, at 2,240 am above sea level, influenced many of the events, particularly in track and field. No Summer Olympic Games before nor since have been held at high elevation. Although a performance reducer for endurance athletes, the thin air contributed to many record-setting jumps, leaps, vaults, and throws, as well as all of the men's track events of 400 meters and less. As a reminder of this fact, one of the promotional articles of these Olympics was a small metallic box labeled Air de Mar Copyright Zico, that was a special Para Batera copyright chords. In addition to high elevation, this was the first Olympics to use a synthetic all-weather surface for track and field events. The tartan surface was originally developed by 3M for horse racing, but didn't catch on. The tracks at previous Olympics were conventional cinder. For the first time, East and West Germany competed as separate teams, after being forced by the IOC to compete as a combined German team in 1956, 1960, and 1964. Beethoven's Ode to Joy was played when East and West Germany arrived in the stadium. Al Oertner of the U.S. won his fourth consecutive gold medal in the discus to become only the second athlete to achieve this feat in an individual event, and the first in track and field. Bob Beamon of the U.S. leapt 8.90 am in the long jump, an incredible 55 cm improvement over the previous world record. It remains the Olympic record and stood as the world record for 23 years, until broken by American Mike Powell in 1991. American athletes Jim Hines, Tommy Smith and Lee Evans also set long-standing world records in the 100 m, 200 m and 400 m, respectively. In the triple jump, the previous world record was improved 5 times by 3 different athletes. Victor Sanev won the first of 3 successive gold medals in this event. He won silver in 1980. Dick Fosbury of the U.S. won the gold medal in the high jump using his unconventional Fosbury flop technique, which quickly became the dominant technique in the event. Vera Oyaslevska of Czechoslovakia won 4 gold medals in gymnastics. Debbie Mayer of the U.S. became the first swimmer to win 3 individual gold medals, in the 200, 400 and 800 m freestyle events. The 800 meters was a new long-distance event for women. Mayer was only 16 years old, a student at Rio Americano High School in Sacramento, California. Mayer was the first of several American teenagers to win the 800 m. American swimmer Charlie Hickox won 3 gold medals and 1 silver medal. The introduction of doping tests resulted in the first disqualification because of doping. Swedish pentathlete Hans-Gunnar Liljegren was disqualified for alcohol use. John Stephen Akhwari of Tanzania became internationally famous after finishing the marathon, in last place, despite a dislocated knee. This was the first of 3 Olympic participations by Jacques Rogge. He competed in yachting and would later become the 8th president of the IOC. Norma Enriqueta Basilio de Sotelo of Mexico became the first woman to light the Olympic cauldron with the Olympic flame. It was the first games at which there was a significant African presence in men's distance running. Africans won at least 1 medal in all running events from 800 meters to the marathon, and in so doing they set a trend for future games. Most of these runners come from high-altitude areas of countries like Kenya and Ethiopia, and they were well prepared for the 2240 m elevation of Mexico City. It was the first Olympic Games in which the closing ceremony was transmitted in color to the world, as well as the events themselves. Controversies. South Africa. South Africa was provisionally invited to the Games, on the understanding that all segregation and discrimination in sport would be eliminated by the 1972 Games. However, African countries and Black American athletes promised to boycott the Games if South Africa was present, and Eastern Bloc countries threatened to do likewise. In April 1968 the IOC conceded that it would be most unwise for South Africa to participate. Tlatelolco Massacre. Responding to growing social unrest and protests, the government of Mexico had increased economic and political suppression, against labor unions in particular, in the decade building up to the Olympics. A series of protest marches in the city in August gathered significant attendance, with an estimated 500,000 taking part on August 27. President Gustavo Díaz's orders ordered the occupation of the National Autonomous University of Mexico in September, but protests continued. Using the prominence brought by the Olympics, students gathered in Plaza de las Culturas in Tlatelolco to call for greater civil and democratic rights and show disdain for the Olympics with slogans such as "No queremos Olimpiadas, queremos Revolución Cubana." 10 days before the start of the Olympics, the government ordered the gathering in Plaza de las Culturas to be broken up. Some 5,000 soldiers and 200 tankettes surrounded the plaza. Dozens of protesters and civilians were killed and over 1,000 were arrested. At the time, the event was portrayed in the national media as the military suppression of a violent student uprising, but later analysis indicates that the gathering was peaceful prior to the Army's advance. Black Power Salute. On October 16, 1968, Black sprinters Tommy Smith and John Carlos, the gold and bronze medalists in the men's 200-meter race, took their places on the podium for the medal ceremony wearing black socks without shoes and civil rights badges, lowered their heads and each defiantly raised a black-gloved fist as the Star-Spangled Banner was played. Both of them were members of the Olympic Project for Human Rights. Some people felt that a political statement had no place in the international forum of the Olympic Games. In an immediate response to their actions, Smith and Carlos were suspended from the U.S. team by Brundage and banned from the Olympic Village. Those who opposed the protest said the actions disgraced all Americans. Supporters, on the other hand, praised the men for their bravery. Peter Norman, the Australian sprinter who came second in the 200m race, and Martin Gellinghaus, a member of the German bronze medal-winning 4x400-meter relay team, also wore Olympic Project for Human Rights badges at the Games to show support for the suspended American sprinters. He did not salute with them, but he did suggest the black gloves to the other sprinters. Norman's actions resulted in a reprimand, his absence from the following Olympic Games in Munich and a failure of his national association to invite him to join other Australian medalists at the opening ceremony for the 2000 Summer Olympics in Sydney. This picture caused him to fall into substance abuse depression because the picture ruined his career, and Smith and Carlos acted as pallbearers at his funeral in 2006. 2. Vera Oyaslewska. In another incident, while standing on the medal podium after the balance beam event final where Natalia Kaczynskaya of the Soviet Union had controversially taken the gold, Czechoslovakian gymnast Vera Oyaslevska quietly turned her head down and away during the playing of the Soviet national anthem. The action was Oyaslevska's silent protest against the recent Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia, and was repeated when she accepted her medal for her floor exercise routine when the judges changed the preliminary scores of the Soviet Larisa Petrek to tie with Oyaslevska. While Oyaslevska's countrymen supported her actions and her outspoken opposition to communism, the new regime responded by banning her from both sporting events and international travel for many years and made her an outcast from society. Venues: Augusta N. Melgar Olympic Velodrome Euro Cycling, Arena Mar Copyright Zico Euro Boxing, Avon Darrow Golf Club Euro Equestrian, Campo Marte Euro Equestrian, Campo Militar 1 Euro Modern Pentathlon, Club de Yates Euro Sailing, Estadio Azteca Euro Football, Estadio Quarta Copyright Mocha Euro Football Preliminaries, Estadio Norcamp Euro Football Preliminaries, Estadio Olimpico Universitario Euro Athletics, Ceremonies, Equestrian, Fernando Montes de Oca Fencing Hall Euro Fencing, Modern Pentathlon, Francisco Marquez Olympic Pool Euro Diving, Modern Pentathlon, Swimming, Water Polo, Arena Insurgents Euro Wrestling, Insurgents Theatre. Euro Weightlifting, Jalisco Stadium Euro Football Preliminaries, Juan de la Barrera Olympic Gymnasium Euro Volleyball, Juan Escutia Sports Palace Euro Basketball, Volleyball, Municipal Stadium Euro Field Hockey, National Auditorium Euro Gymnastics, Arena Revolucia Cubdena Euro Volleyball, Satellite Circuit Euro Cycling, University City Swimming Pool Euro Water Polo, Vicente Suarez Shooting Range Euro Modern Pentathlon, Shooting, Virgilio Uribe Rowing and Canoeing Course Euro Canoeing, Rowing, Tsar Cubed Carlo Euro Athletics, Medals awarded. The 1968 Summer Olympic program featured 172 events in the following 18 sports: demonstration sports, basque pelota, tennis. The organizers declined to hold a judo tournament at the Olympics, even though it had been a full medal sport 4 years earlier. This was the last time judo was not included in the Olympic Games. Calendar: all dates are in Central Time Zone. Participating National Olympic Committees. East Germany and West Germany competed as separate entities for the first time in a Summer Olympiad, and would remain so through 1988. Barbados competed for the first time as an independent country. Also competing for the first time in a Summer Olympiad were British Honduras, Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of the Congo, El Salvador, Guinea, Honduras, Kuwait, Nicaragua, Paraguay, Sierra Leone, and the United States Virgin Islands. Singapore returned to the Games as an independent country after competing as part of the Malaysian team in 1964. Boycotting countries: North Korea withdrew its athletes from Cuba immediately prior to the beginning of the Olympics when the IOC refused to refer to the country by its official name, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea or DPRK. Medal count. These are the top 10 nations that won medals at the 1968 Games. Host Mexico won 3 of each color of medal. See also: 1968 Summer Paralympics, 1968 Winter Olympics, Summer Olympic Games, International Olympic Committee, List of IOC country codes, 1968 Olympics Black Power Salute, References, Notes. Sources: Mexico City 1968. Olympic.org. International Olympic Committee Results and Medalists. Olympic.org. International Olympic Committee The Politics of Hypocrisy Euro Mexico 68, Luis Castor +or-Ida, Beyond Tlatelolco, Design, Media and Politics at Mexico 68 Euros article in Grey Room 40, external links, Mexico City 1968. Olympic.org. International Olympic Committee Result of the 1968 Summer Olympics Host City Candidacies, an article on the American Sprinters Controversy, the program of the 1968 Mexico City Olympics.